Good evening. Welcome back to the Fantasy Alpha podcast. Week 12 recap. Looking forward to week 13. I will be your host tonight, Alex, filling in. Dom is a last-minute absentee, so it is going to be the blind leading the blind tonight, baby.
Nice.
A lot to talk about, a lot of crazy games this past weekend, a lot of big games coming up this week. And I want to start off the show. I know we kind of talked about it off air a little bit right before, but JB wasn't on quite yet. And for all you viewers out there, we have an engaged man, newly engaged man on this podcast, and his name is Jack Monahan.
So what? Oh, congrats. Are we being serious? Serious?
Yeah, we are being serious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
You got something. Got someone to tie you down.
Yeah, she's in the other room. Not tying me down at the moment, but we're not into that kind of stuff anyways. But yeah, thanks for the shout-out, host. Yeah, it was a big day growing up, moving on to bigger and better things, getting engaged in this podcast. I'm on to bigger and better things. So,
well, congrats, Jack.
Thanks, buddy.
Couldn't be happier.
Thanks, buddy.
It's also kind of a big deal, too, because she helped pick your fantasy team. You're still in the playoff hunt, so, she's about football.
It's pretty true. So it sounds like we need to get you a girlfriend there, Alex, so you can get someone to help you pick your fantasy team.
Talk about the blind leading the blind. That's all task.
I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, like you said, we had a good week in fantasy. My eyes were glued to the game last night. I had Santos, the kicker, and I had the Vikings defense. And I was up by I ended up winning by 10 points.
All right.
So it was a big win. I'm back in the playoff race. That's sixth place. I'm finally out of that sixth place. I know we talked about it last week. That little whoever gets the most points for gets that sixth spot. So now I'm up to 5. So I'm sitting pretty. But this week we got a tough matchup. So, but JB, how'd you do this week?
I lost. I'm probably out the playoffs, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I might be on the bottom feeding team like Alex. Seeing if I could just mess some people up.
Welcome, brother.
Yeah, because it's not going too good over here. My opponent did put up 170 points on me, so I didn't really have much of a shot anyway. Even if my team did perform well, it's just be like that sometimes. Alex, did you take another one down or?
Oh yeah, both leagues. I lost in both leagues. Jack and I's league, yeah, it's a lost cause. It's just if you need a W, just come play me. I'll help you out a little bit. So that league, I'm done. So I'm cheering for everyone but Jack. But of course, the other league, I'm on a 3-game losing streak in the other league. But and 10 of 14 make the playoffs in that league, and right now I went from the 5th seed to the 10th seed in 3 weeks. And
10 and 14 make the playoffs?
10 out of 14 make it.
Oh, 10 out of 14 now.
10 out of 14. You got a couple buys in there. Yeah, a couple of them do. But yeah, it's a struggle right now. I've had a lot of last minute injuries and poorly timed buys on my part. So
boys, how are people supposed to listen to us if I'm the only one winning fantasy football? Supposed to be a fantasy football podcast. Alex, I expect this out of you, but JB, I know we're newly friends, but
listen, I'm the newest one to fantasy on this podcast. Okay, I deserve to have some L's here and there. Alex, there's no excuse for you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Listen, I'm finding out now that I did not have a girl helping me draft my team on draft day. So at first I thought I was at the advantage because I'm it's just my brain. I got this. I was the best team in the regular season last year. I'm just going to ride this out. And no, I fell apart.
Yep.
I'm sorry, JB. Sorry to disappoint you. All right. Enough of those recaps from our teams. How about let's go to a couple studs. Let's start with JB. Who do you got this week?
First stud for me, I got Jordan Love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was a stud out there. 3 TD passes. 268 passing yards. He played phenomenal, and I kind of expected it. So I don't think the Packers are going to make the playoffs personally, but I think Jordan Love is performing really well this year. And I think he's up there with some of the better QBs, unlike that matchup that we saw on Monday with those QBs, those newer QBs. You know, it wasn't the best, but
that was gross.
Yeah, most of the newer QBs are performing pretty well. Another stud I got is our Steeler dude, Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, one of you guys might have had him as well, but I had to mention him since I had the chance. 120 yards on 9 receptions. Maybe all he needed was a new OC, you know, finally hitting the seam, getting some targets to the tight end. I'm excited to see what happens next week against the Cardinals with him, but it was definitely impressive. I think it was his best game of the season. So best game in a few seasons, honestly. So it's good to see that.
My only worry there, I was watching the game with my mom, and I was just watching Kenny Pickett's eyes. I also could just call because I know watching Kenny, I was like, they're throwing it to Freiermuth this play.
Yeah, his eyes are so readable.
Like, just watch his eyes, Mom. Like, so I think I'm a little worried next week if they start picking up on that's all who Kenny throws to, and that's all who he looks at. But I have to agree, great week for Pat.
Hey, it's amazing what happens when you throw it to the middle of the field. That's always wide open.
Yeah.
It's true.
How about you, Jack?
Oh, I got 4 young men here.
Whoa, 4 young.
I know. Am I doing my research or what? Let's start off with Jalen Hurts in that great game Sunday night against the Bills. High-scoring game against the Bills. Love to see it for fantasy owners. I think everybody who had a Bills player or an Eagles player had a great game.
You could have picked anybody from that team, honestly, or from either team.
He only threw for around 200 yards, but he did carry the ball 14 times for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns, one coming from the old push of the tush. The other one was the game-winning in overtime. So, big week from Jalen Hurts.
And he had 3 touchdowns too, right? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Second guy I got is Mr. Kyron Williams. First game back from the IR, and he exploded. Big on the adjectives over here.
Big.
16 carries for 143 yards. He also snagged 5 receptions for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson, another boy that finally had a breakout game. I have him on my team. I've just been waiting for him to be productive. 19 touches for 91 yards, 2 tutties, 1 rushing and 1 receiving. Last but certainly least, anybody from the Cowboys is low on my list. So Mr. Dak Prescott. I still don't have faith in the Cowboys. I know their defense is good, but I don't know. They just haven't been talked about as much as the 49ers, the Ravens. I just haven't. I don't know. Stephen A is not bringing them up, so I don't hear anything about them. He had 22 completions for 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they destroyed the Washington Commanders. So those are my studs. I have none of them. Oh, just kidding. Bijan's on my team. So
nice. Well, another thing with Dallas, if you look at all their wins, it's all against crap. They've like no good wins.
Yeah, their division is
their strength of schedule was just terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah. All right, my studs of the week. I'm going to start with Mr. Matthew Stafford. Even without Cooper Kupp, threw for 229 yards, but 4 touchdowns. So it's pretty big for him. Big 37-14 win over the Rams. Good to see Stafford putting up some points even without a star receiver. I'm going to go, my stud number 2 is going to be, we'll go back to that Philly-Buffalo game. You got to go with Josh Allen. I feel like he is like the epitome of best performances of the season, but still losing. I swear every single year he puts up like the individual performance of the year and still loses somehow. 339 pass yards, 81 rush yards, 4 touchdowns. Let's see. I'll do 4. I'll do 4 as well. I'll
don't get too crazy.
Try. I'm gonna go Deebo Samuel. He's finally had a little bit more of a coming out party this year. He's been pretty terrible, I know, because he's on my team, and he's been absolutely dog.
Gets hurt.
What's up?
You can't score points when you're hurt, Alex.
Can't.
As a matter of fact, I know you're a physical therapist, but it's not how fantasy football works.
Hey, he had a touchdown this past.
He did.
Game, you know.
He only had 15 rush yards, but he had 7 catches and 79 yards receiving. So, big game for Deebo. And last but not least, I'm going to go with Mr. Najee Harris. Finally, like a back, running like he's like 6'2", 240 pounds, and he actually running like it, 99 yards rushing and a touchdown for them Steelers.
Are you sold on him?
Hell no. No chance. Oh God, no. Yeah. So hopefully that's the start of something new.
High School Musical.
Yeah, baby.
Good reference.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Duds. JB, who are your duds this week?
Duds. I got Josh Dobbs. Yeah, I mean, like, is there much more to be said there? I mean, like, 4 interceptions. I don't even know his passing yards. I was scared to even look at him. I think it was less than 100.
I got 185.
Oh gosh. I mean, I guess that's not terrible, but I mean, like, for how he's been performing the past few weeks and how that offense has been moving, that was I wasn't expecting that personally. But yeah, 4 INTs, 2 of them I was just like, what is he even doing? So yeah, that just wasn't a good game all around, and Dobbs just didn't perform. If you look on the other side of the ball, Justin Fields, he did kind of perform. I'm like, not wonderful, but better than Dobbs. So Dobbs just didn't play good. I don't know what Vikings are going to do there. He didn't even look good. So, yeah, that's definitely a dud. Another dud I got is George Kittle. But, I mean, like, with that team, it's like anybody can be a dud any week. Anybody can be a stud any week. They just have so much talent all around. So, I think next week there would be another stud or another dud from the 49ers team. But this week I got George Kittle. He didn't get in the end zone, which I had him as an anytime TD scorer, so that was unfortunate. And I think he only got like 3 receptions. So and for like less than 20 yards. So yeah, it wasn't the best for him. What you got, Jack?
Yeah, I also had George Kittle, mostly because he's on my team, and I suffered that 4.3 points or something. Yeah, he had 3 catches for, I guess that's 4.9 points, Jack. Good math. 3 catches for 19 yards. And, yeah, they crushed the Seahawks, which I was kind of surprised by. I thought that was going to be a closer game. But, yeah, like you said, JB, I mean, with all the high-powered offense they have, someone's bound to not get the receptions, not get the touches. So, plus Brock Purdy's playing good again. He's kind of got his swagger back. He's kind of got his confidence back, which is good. It's just crazy with how fast the news turns on people. I mean, yeah, you mentioned Josh Dobbs. I mean, people are already turning on him so fast. I mean, I wasn't super sold on him quite yet. I know he's, 8? I think QB 8 for fantasy owners.
Which is wild.
Which is nuts.
I did not know that.
Season. Yeah, it's something absurd. But I don't know. He looked scared in that pocket yesterday. I watched a little bit of the game. Yeah, he was just running for his life. He wasn't even, going through reads. I think he was just going back to his old self that we saw in the Steelers, that they saw in Arizona. I mean, yeah, I know we don't do stock trending anymore, but he's trending low for me. 2 other guys I got Mr. Joe Mixon from Cincinnati. He had 8 carries for 16 yards and 2 receptions for 44 yards. I know he's getting up there in age, but I still expect more from Mr. Joe Mixon, especially with our boy Joe Burrow out. I was hoping he was going to have more production, but that just wasn't the case. And I know he's playing against the Steelers, who I'm not sold on our run defense, and I know we have a very low-ranked defense. So I expected more out of him, so I'm giving him the old dud label this week. The other guy I got, I guess we are sticking with the Steeler trend, but I think Deontay Johnson was a dud this week. Not because you didn't notice that fumble was happening and he was just lollygagging around, looking for something to do, just ready to go to the bench. But he hit 8 targets for 4 catches and 50 yards. I mean, solid 9 points, I guess, but he's supposed to be the veteran on the Steelers team, veteran wide receiver. And he's just not playing like it. I know part of that's on Kenny, but he's got to get open, especially since they're throwing the ball over the field, in the middle of the field now. I would say his stock is trending, but yeah, he's a dud for me this week. All right, host, what do you got here?
Let's start with is Bill Belichick just finally going to come to his senses and completely bench Mac Jones?
Who else do you play, though?
Yeah, right?
I mean, but it's like he's literally every week he plays him and then benches him, plays him and then benches him. You might as well just leave him in the game. If you know Bailey Zappi, he's not going to be any better. Just keep him in the game and just chalk up the season to be terrible. But he's my first dud. 89 yards, 2 interceptions. I feel like most people are not playing him in fantasy, but hey, he's still starting quarterback in the NFL. Still has to put up numbers, and he didn't.
Let me jump off that because Hunter Henry, I believe he was playing in the game, but he scored a solid 0 points for me this week. As on the freaking Patriots.
Yeah. That's
unbelievable. He played 46 of 68 snaps on offense and didn't know.
I understand that they don't have that many weapons on offense, but Hunter Henry's a good tight end. How are you not at least throwing to the safety valve and throwing 5-6 yards downfield? If anything, he should be the one doing the best on the pass.
I agree. That's why I drafted him, or I picked him up on waivers.
Yeah,
but Alex, you trying to talk like you're better than Bill Belichick, or what are you trying to say here, man? You trying to say you're a better coach than the 4-time, 5-time Super Bowl champ?
I like to give a stab at it. I played Madden a time or two.
I mean, that's true. You played against me, and I don't think you won very much.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, it hurts me to say this because I feel like we put him as a stud every week, but Mr. Adam Thielen, he has landed on the dud list, gentlemen. 1 catch for 2 yards. 2 yards for Adam Thielen. I think the play of Bryce Young and just the kind of the shambles that front office and coaching staff has been in over the last couple weeks is starting to be a ripple effect toward him. And I don't like the way he's trending right now. So pretty poor performance from Mr. Thielen. Staying with the same team. Boy, oh boy, Miles Sanders stinks, boys. 15 carries for 28 yards. That is, I'm going to math good, a.k.a. I looked online at this. 1.9 yards per carry. 15 carries. That's pretty impressive in the worst way possible.
Those are Turkey Bowl numbers.
That is definitely Turkey Bowl numbers.
Guess it shows what the Eagles O-line can do for you.
Seriously, my gosh, DeAndre Swift was decent in Detroit, but he's looking great with them. Let's go one more dud. I'm going to go Mr. Geno Smith. I know he's a little hampered by an elbow injury, but he had a $180 passing and an interception. Even though San Francisco's defense is very good, he's usually high volume. Even in losses, he's usually a high volume fantasy scorer, and he did not do that this week. So those are my duds. Any other additional ones, boys?
I don't got anything. I'm honestly looking up Justin Jefferson's timetable coming back.
He just got cleared.
Did he?
Yeah, he just got cleared.
I feel like that's a good thing we should talk about.
Mm.
So is he going to play this week, we think?
I don't know. I that just came out like an hour ago or something.
Nice. Look at us. First for all your fantasy football news.
Yeah, take that out.
Yeah.
So I know we mentioned it a couple times in the last couple of minutes, but why don't we bring the segment back, a little impromptu? Why don't we do a little stock up, stock down for the 3/4 mark of the season? We can get the gears turning a little bit.
Oh, I can go first, JB.
Yeah, go.
I mean, you mentioned him, JB, Jordan Love. You saw this comment, which JB, I know you're an incredible co-host here on Fantasy Alpha, but I did not see Jordan Love coming. I saw him as my opponent this week in fantasy, and I was like, oh, okay, Jordan Love, haven't heard about that guy all season. But 26 fantasy points. Packers looked good. He looked confident. He looked great throwing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what their schedule's looking like coming up. He's QB 10. They're playing Kansas City this week, and they play my New York Giants. And their strength of schedule is actually not bad at all. So he might be a guy that's trending. They're playing Carolina, Minnesota, Chicago. Tampa Bay looks like the toughest defense the toughest defense they might play against for the rest of the season. So Jordan Love, I like it. Trending up. Let me see what else I got here. Breece Hall, anybody from the Jets is continuing to trend down.
Yep.
Not even worth talking about. Another guy, James Conner, who I do not think we mentioned very early on in the season, I think James Conner, he had a couple good games to start the season, but he's very, very, as everybody knows, is touchdown heavy. And that's just not the case. I mean, he's averaged 7 points the past 3 games. I know he's dealing with an injury, was injured earlier in the season, but he continues to trend down. And I see him in a lot of starting lineups, so I'm just like concerned what's going on over there in Arizona in general. I know they're playing the Lurs this week. We'll see if he proves me wrong, but I sure hope not. What else do I got here?
Oh, look at those
Do you
wheels.
think Josh Allen is actually trending in the right direction?
Yeah.
I don't. So
No.
let's argue, Alex.
Well, okay. So
You first.
the big stat is he's thrown an interception in 8 straight games.
See, that seems like trending down, but go ahead.
But okay, so if he throws like an interception a game, he's still making up for it with like 300 plus yards passing, always on the ground. And he's usually throwing more touchdowns than interceptions. And from a fantasy standpoint, I think you can live with that.
I don't disagree. I mean, he threw the ball 51 times last week. They do have a bye this week, so maybe he'll get his head right. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely QB1. But I mean, can you rely on him going into the playoffs? I don't know how the Bills are playing.
You mean just as like an actual team? Well, before we get going, let's look at this comment here. We got Cruz Garcia. A little comment: 9-3, half PPR, first place starters. Lamar, Kyron, Gibbs, Pollard, Diggs.
Pollard. Sound it out there, host. It's Pollard.
Hey, you know, this is last minute, boys. Tank. Let's see. Bench Achonche.
Achonche, boy.
Puka, Purdy. Got offered Stroud, Mostert, Godwin for Pollard, Purdy, Puka. Should I?
Initial thought is I don't like Tony Pollard.
Me either.
So I think he'd be one guy I'd consider getting rid of. Brock Purdy, I could see him trending in the right direction. I know his last couple games have been great. So, I mean, if you trust the 49ers, if they're healthy, but it seems like you have Lamar, so I think you're pretty set on QB there, Garcia.
I'd say do it.
I would. Wait, got offered Stroud, Mostert, Godwin. I think I would take that, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think Stroud's a great fantasy quarterback. As long as I think the biggest thing is, can Mostert stay healthy?
True.
But even not, he has Achonche on his bench. So it's
I don't know how well.
So if Mostert doesn't,
playing.
He hasn't really been playing. I think he's been injured.
Puka's been so hit or miss the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if Cooper Kupp stay injured, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested if your league has two. I mean, you have Lamar Jackson, who I think is probably QB2, QB3.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need CJ Stroud, but obviously he's good to take away from someone else. Honestly.
Oh wait. This is saying. Wait. The bench is
it's Achonche, Puka, and that's on his bench.
Oh wait, so
I think that's what he's saying, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So he's trading most of the guys off of his bench.
I think I would take it.
I think he has a crazy lineup, good lineup, honestly. But
I'd agree. I think you got three.
Cruz has to be like a 4-team league.
JB's all about those leagues.
Cruz, I'd take it.
Yeah, I'd take it as well.
Yeah, man, for sure. You got 3 yeses from us.
Nice.
Cool. Thanks for the question.
I love that. Got the gear spinning. All right,
where were we?
Let's see. We're on. So we're still
stock up stuff.
Stock down.
We're doing stock ups or stock down?
I didn't say nothing about a stock up.
Go ahead, JB. Take it away.
I don't even know if I have much stock down. This came out of nowhere for me, okay? Wasn't prepared for this question, all right?
This is what happens when I host. I was all over the place.
But some stock up people, okay, came up with off the top of my head while you're sitting there talking, all right? JT. Oh, no, not JT. Zach Moss. Hear me out, though, okay? Hear me out, okay? Zach Moss hasn't played much since JT got back, but last week he got in. He almost like split carries with JT. He had 55 yards. I don't. Who are they playing this approaching week? They're playing the Titans. I mean, like, I don't know, but I think that Zach Moss is going to, I think he's starting to get back into the mix. I know a lot of people traded him off. So I think he's honestly on my waiver wire to pick up again because I know a lot of people got rid of him and sold on him, which, I mean, like, I don't blame you for doing. But it seems like he's getting carries again, and we know how much production he can do. So I say stock rising on him, and I also say stock rising on Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't been the best QB this year, as we all know. But he performed last week. He did really good. I don't know. I think he's about to show us his last year's self towards the end a bit here, coming up soon. The Jaguars are right inside of the playoff hunt, and it's about time he start performing. So I think that it's going to happen. So that's what I think for stock up. I didn't see any like odd faces from you guys, so I'm assuming you guys agree with me.
Dude, I agree. I mean, Trevor Lawrence looks like he's averages 27 fantasy points the past 2 weeks. Throwing the ball an average of 36 times. So, I mean, I'm all about that one. And also I don't know if we talk about the injury report, but Jonathan Taylor looks like he's doubtful for at least for this week. I think he might be out the next couple weeks. So definitely agree with you on Zach Moss there, JB.
It's huge. Because it's a thumb injury, I think.
Yeah, how much do you need your thumb?
No, I was back not too much. Exactly. All right. My stock up. First one, Mr. Pat Freiermuth. I think last week is a glimpse into big things to come. I think he's just what Kenny needed back in the lineup. Opens the field up more for the middle of the field for him. I think that even if the Steelers have bad performances on offense, which is very, very likely, I still think he could end up benefiting a lot from a lot of checkdowns from Kenny. In a league where tight ends are very scarce on productivity this year, I could see Freiermuth making a little playoff push for any of you fantasy owners out there. And let's see, I'm going to go my stock, another stock up actually. I'm going to go Jalen Waddle. He's had 2 of the last 3 games over 100 yards receiving. He had a really quiet first half of the year and it was pretty disappointing. But I think over the last 3 games, showing a little promise of what he's capable of doing and what he was expected to do going forward, and can never count him out in that Miami offense. Stock down, I'm going to go with Mr. Chris Godwin. Last 3 games, he's had under 70 yards receiving. Tampa's really, overall as a team, is just stock down overall. They started off hot and they've just deteriorated over the last half of the season. Can't really rely on Godwin to be what you would probably consider like a wide receiver 2 going into the year, maybe wide receiver 2. Say if anything, he's probably like a flex position now. And then I would also say Joe Mixon. I know it breaks Jack's heart.
That's my guy, bro.
I know, man. But there's just nothing impressive about Cincy's offense this year. And obviously as a Steeler fan, we love that. But I think last week was a glimpse into what's to come for them over the next couple of weeks, that even though Browning is in, Burrow being out, I just don't think they're going to utilize Mixon. And I don't think Zach Taylor in that offense is capable of getting him to where he usually is as a Pro Bowl running back. Any objections? Any weird faces?
I have no objections.
Thank
Jack
you.
looks like he has a weird face up there.
I'm always objecting you, Alex.
I know. I
Especially
thought
as the host.
anything like suspicious or weird or
I mean, in my mind, which is obviously I was wrong last week, which I know I'm never wrong, especially about the New York Giants. But they should be running the ball more with Joe Mixon. I just don't get why. So I'm not ready to completely stock. I mean, I would agree that the Bengals are stocked down, but in my mind, Joe Mixon needs to be getting more carries, needs to be getting those checkdowns from Browning, which is fantasy points for PPR leagues.
Jack,
So
I
I'd
see
have
where
to disagree.
I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I
but
would
it's
say
just
on the
good.
I would say on the rest of the Bengals team, everybody else is stock down. Definitely. I mean, like Jamar Chase had a good game against Steelers, but I mean, like I don't see him, T. Higgins, but I don't see the receivers being consistent enough to be players that anybody would take and have a good stock on. So I would say that entire receiver core is definitely stock down. Mixon, Jack, you can make a case, but I have to agree with you, Alex. I don't see him doing much either. I was not impressed against the Steelers. And the only way you can't get the running game going if that's what people know is coming, So,
And
but we'll see.
Yeah, I was kind of saying it too, because even before Burrow's injury, I feel like it was like every other week how we talk about Derrick Henry. We were kind of talking like Joe Mixon. He would have a really good game and then it'd be bad. Really good game, bad. There was nothing consistent, even if it was just like a 12 to 16 point performance. I feel like it was like all or nothing with him.
Yeah.
So
I'd agree, but I still have hope. Is that okay? Gosh, can I hope in my players? This is why you're doing so bad, Alex.
You have
players.
to hope.
I can only tell what that locker room's like on that bench of yours.
Yeah, you know it's bad whenever I have two backup Denver Bronco running backs, and right now is the only best available on our market.
I hate to say that they both beat me last week. So, but I'll see you not in the playoffs, Alex. It's fine.
Jack, you're the only one with a positive record, so you have the most say here.
That's what I'm saying, boys. I've got some crazy picks this year, but look who's in the playoff hunt. So
it's gonna be.
Dom's not here to shut us down with his 9-2 record. So
I know he was in that. What the heck is that called? The Legends League or whatever he's in.
Yeah, I have no idea. He talks gibberish.
That South Hills of Pittsburgh type league. There's different.
It's true. It's true.
Okay, so let's flip the script. Let's look ahead to week 13. Let's do some stardom and situms. Let's start with some stardoms here. JB, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Jaylen Warren. All right. This is a little bit of a whim pick, seeing Najee have some life, but I'm not sold on Najee, like we said earlier. And the Cardinals' run defense is just not good. So Jaylen Warren didn't have too many touches last week. I expect him to get a lot of the load this upcoming week, and I expect to see him, do some stuff. So I'm gonna have Jaylen Warren as my stardom there. The offense, is coming to life a bit over there inside of Pittsburgh. Well, here inside of Pittsburgh. So that's one of my stardoms. Another stardom I got, Alex mentioned earlier, but Waddle. It's always a good idea to start wide receivers against Washington. Their pass defense is just terrible. But he did well last week. He's on the rise. I expect him to do phenomenal against the Commanders. Tyreek Hill obviously is going to do what he does, but hey, I got Waddle on my team, so I'm rooting for him. Jack?
Oh, who do I got here? I have Mr. C.J. Stroud against the Broncos. I kind of like both the quarterbacks in this game, so I'm going to throw our boy Russell Wilson in there, who's kind of showing us up, boys. We were dogging the man a couple weeks ago, I feel like. I mean, the Broncos have made a little comeback here. They're trying to get into that playoff hunt. So I like both of them in this game. I'm hoping it's going to be a shootout. I believe it's in Houston, in a dome, coming down from the Mile High City. I'm interested for a high-scoring game. I'm hoping for both ends. I mean, C.J. Stroud has been playing well. Russ hasn't been playing as well, but he's still been pretty consistent. And I think the Broncos are riding. Let's just say that.
They are.
Let me see who else I got here. Alex, this is the first time you haven't mentioned Sam Howell, and you usually mention Derrick Henry. So I'm just interested. You haven't said both. We haven't finished the show, so I guess there's still time.
Yeah, there is still a lot of time.
I like my boy Bijan Robinson to have another good game. They're playing against the old Jets Jets. So yeah, he got some Desmond Ritter's back at quarterback. My boy Taylor Heineke, they pulled. And he's their go-to check-down guy. The Falcons are also, I think, for fantasy owners, this is, definitely where you kind of look for teams that are that are looking to get a playoff spot, that are still trying to win. I mean, I think the Panthers, I don't know how you play. I don't know how you confidently play Bryce Young, Adam Thielen, unfortunately, any of those guys on the Panthers. I mean, they're not even trying to win anymore. Same with the Patriots. You can't play any of the Patriots. So we're really getting down to the teams. And plus injuries, you throw injuries on top of that. I mean, there's slim pickings here. So Bijan Robinson with the Falcons. They're playing the Jets. They're still in playoff contention, as I mentioned. The Lions. I mean, the Lions team, I know we're mentioning players, so I'm going to go here Jared Goff, a bunch of quarterbacks I'm going to start this week. Lions are looking for a bounce-back game here. They lost to last week Green Bay and Jordan Love. I mean, that was a great game that was on Thanksgiving Day, on Turkey Day.
Yeah, geez, where were you?
I know. I was obviously watching. Dude, I can forget stuff sometimes. I like Jared Goff. I like St. Brown as well. He did not score. JB, I had him as an anytime touchdown scorer. He did not score. Lions coming a back game. They're away this week against, who did I say?
New Orleans.
The Saints. I don't really know the Saints record if they're still trying, but I know the Lions. People were saying they're a playoff team. I think this is kind of where they show if they deserve to be in the playoffs, if they deserve to go far in the playoffs. So those are my stardoms. I cannot repeat them because they're all top of the head. Go ahead, Alex.
I'm going to go, unfortunately, as a Steelers fan, I'm going to go with Kyler Murray. As a Steelers fan, I am very nervous going into this game, even though it's a home game. Arizona is one of the worst teams in the league. This has the makings of a Kyler Murray throwing for 200 yards and running for 80-plus yards type game. We don't normally do well against scrambling quarterbacks.
Except Lamar.
Thankfully. I mean, all of them. But I'm very hesitant going into this game as a Steelers fan. And I think Kyler Murray is going to have a big game, unfortunately. Another one, I'm going to go another quarterback. I'm going Gardner Minshew. Tennessee's gives up, I think it was like they're number 25 against fantasy quarterbacks in PPR leagues. And Gardner Minshew, he has the ability to put up some hefty fantasy stats sometimes. They're still vying. They're the 7 seed. Who would have thought Indy 7 seed right now in the playoff hunt? So they still got games that are meaningful, whereas Tennessee they're terrible. They're putrid. Derrick Henry stinks. It's the first one.
There you go. You said a good job. I mean, yeah, like 20 plus last week, so I don't know how you can say he stinks, but
I'll get to say that later. No, Gardner Minshew, I think he's another one that I would start. And another last quarterback, I think you start Brock Purdy. I think that even though it's kind of an obvious one, but as much as everyone raves about Philly's defense and their front line, they give up the second most quarterback fantasy points. So I think that's going to be a great game. But I think Purdy's going to have a big game as well. So there's 3 quarterbacks to start.
Nice.
How about some sit-ems?
I'll go ahead again. I say DK Metcalf. He's just been wildly inconsistent. I think against the Rams, he had like 100 yards and a touchdown. Against the 49ers, he pooped the bed. A lot of it can be put on Geno Smith as well. He just hasn't been playing good. But they're playing the Cowboys, who have a pretty good defense, I would say. So I don't think DK Metcalf is going to perform at all, really. I don't see the Seahawks doing much here, honestly. You guys might disagree, but I don't see the Seahawks doing much here. So, yeah, I say sit DK. What'd you say, Alex?
They're just so hit or miss.
DK?
Yeah.
I know.
He's one of those, like, it's so hard not to play him, but you know that there's a great chance that he's just going to drop a dud.
Yeah, he's just been so inconsistent this year. So I just say sit him for the sake of it. Another sit him I got is Gerald Everett, tight end for the Chargers. He's back in the lineup. He missed week 11. Yeah, I just don't see him doing much. They're playing against New England, who is not good, but the defense has not been the problem there. They've held their last 2 opponents to 10 points. So the defense is not the problem in New England. I see the Chargers exploiting them in other ways, but I don't think that.
Kind of ways.
Yeah, I guess Justin Herbert is about the only thing that they have. Oh, you were trying to make a weird joke there, weren't you, Jack?
This is why we need Dom. Shout out Dom. You were
See,
laughing.
yeah, shout out Dom. My head is not in that same space as Dom's. But that's what I got. That's what I got for this. Yeah, that was delayed. I had to tell you, it took me a second to realize it. Then I saw Alex laughing, and then I saw Jack's face, and I was like, oh, he's making a sick joke over there, isn't he?
Dude,
Sick, Jack.
He's impulsive, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, boys. So,
He was
now, which is dope.
being engaged now. He'd mature a little bit.
Yeah. I would expect that from Dom.
Going backwards. Is it my turn, Alex? You want to go?
I can go.
All right, man. Switch it up. Go ahead.
You know, for all the positive talk about this man, and especially on sports media and whatnot, but I'm gonna say sit Jordan Love. I think that no. Listen. Kansas City gives it the 8th least amount of quarterback points. This is like the perfect trend. This is almost on like the Josh Dobbs trend. He has a couple good weeks, like really, really good weeks. Everyone's raving about him, saying everything positive. This is all trending in the right direction. And then boom, it's going to hit reality check. This is Kansas City coming back saying, we're still the best in the AFC. We're going to put Jordan Love in his place. And then everyone's going to start questioning it again.
I can see that. What Raiders QB do against the Kansas City? Does anybody know? Did he do well?
I don't, probably terrible.
I think they scored like 17 points. I think it was like 31-17.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if he's a rookie, but he's a backup.
I like that pick, Alex.
Thanks, JB.
That makes one of us.
Let's see, it was 50-50. And then I'm going to go back, JB, I'm going to go back to Seattle with you here. I'm going to go sit Zach Charbonnet. Even though he's projected 12 fantasy points, Dallas's defense, number 4 against running backs. I just feel like you, I agree Seattle's on the trend down, and I think it'd be very hard to start him as a running back 1 or 2. I'd say at most a flex if you really had to right now. Jack,
My turn.
you're done.
All right. Let's start off with the Cleveland Brownies. Amari Cooper. He used to be a top guy in the league. Now the Browns are the Browns, which I love to see. DTR, their quarterback, inconsistent as all heck. Amari Cooper, I saw him drop a couple passes, but he's their leading receiver over there. And yeah, he's just not playing well. The Browns aren't playing well, but they're in playoff contention, so you'd hope that they start putting up points, but he's a sit I got this week. Another guy I got is Mr. Jake Ferguson over in Dallas. Dak usually loves his tight ends, but let me see who they playing this week. Who's Dallas have this week?
They're playing. I think he just mentioned it. They're playing the Seahawks, like we said. Yeah.
Thursday night.
I don't know. I still like the Seahawks. They got a pretty good defense over there, so Jake Ferguson, I don't think is going to get many looks again this week. He's been riding my bench for a while. Him and Dalton Schultz have been swapping in and out, which is funny because Dalton Schultz used to play for the Cowboys. Lastly, not leastly, who do I got? We already said Geno Smith. No? Yes?
No. I said
I'm going to go with Geno Smith.
That was another segment.
Huh?
That was another segment.
That was another. Oh, nice. Well, we're almost out of time here, host. You got to keep the show moving.
No, it was a pass segment.
Oh, pass.
Unbelievable.
So it's me not paying attention. That makes more sense. Yeah, Geno Smith. I mean, that Cowboys defense, I mentioned it earlier. They are very good. They got a solid secondary. And Geno Smith's not, like we mentioned, he's injured. The Seahawks, who I was high on, I remember I said that they were Super Bowl contenders, mostly because I heard that on one of the ESPN shows. I do not believe it anymore. And I know you guys mentioned the two running back and receiver from Seattle. So I'm just going to cap it off with Mr. Geno Smith. So just Seattle. Don't start any of them.
I think the Cowboys are going to blow Seattle out, honestly. I'm like, if you look at what the Cowboys do, they literally just blow teams out until they play a good team, and then they get blown out. I mean, like, so.
I agree with you. I think Seattle's very fake. All right. So, in the last couple minutes, I wanted to think of another little curveball. Little question to make you guys. So, since us as mostly a collective are not very good at fantasy football this year. I said most.
I was going to say, watch who you're talking to there, sir.
As in half. So, question to pose for you guys. So, we're at this point of the season. We're about 3/4 of the way through at this point. Some people are making playoff pushes. Others have completely given up on the season. Some people might be in the middle. So my question is to you, if you're one of these teams that are not in the playoff picture right now, when is it appropriate in your eyes to start shopping your team for potential draft picks for next year? Do you do it at all? Do you wait until you're completely eliminated from playoff contention, or do you have a very good feeling that your team is just not going to make it at all and just start doing that and shipping these players to the playoff teams?
Well, I think it depends if your league does that for sure. I don't even know. Does our league do that, Alex?
My league does not do that.
We do not have a rule against it.
Against it? I guess that's true. I think I remember, Paul or somebody gave up a draft pick. I don't know. That's a little shady business, Alex. I know you've already moved on to the Penguins hockey season, but some of us are still involved in this NFL season, like myself. And I don't know. I don't even know if I'd feel comfortable getting people's – I am doing bad in one league, but I don't like to talk about that one. But I don't know about giving up draft picks. I think I like to sort out my team. I think every year is a new year. I mean, we don't even know what's going to happen with all these injuries next year. Who's going to go where? I mean, Kirk Cousins they were talking about, he's worth noting. He was our boy a couple weeks ago, and now they're talking about do they pay him over there in Minnesota, especially with Dobbs. That was like the talk of the town since he had a bad week. I don't know. I just think that it's interesting to look at where players are going to end up, if it's worth the draft picks. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
And also, if you think of it from the other end, okay, say you're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Even let's say your situation where you are one of the lower seeds, but you're still in it. Do you find it worth it to try to just go all in on this season and give up, say, a third or fourth round draft pick for a really, really good running back or whatnot, and put all your eggs in one basket?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I like to stick with the team that I have. I'm not a big trader in general. But, I mean, I don't know. It is a shame that just all the good players go to waste once teams are out. Like Justin Herbert, Alex, he's literally a waste on your team, in your starting lineup. And he's just sitting there handsomely doing nothing.
He's making our team look aesthetically pleasing. Let's be honest.
JB, I'm interested in your thoughts.
I never even thought about this, okay? But I think this is a great thing to think about. I mean, like, trading some of your players to like get drafts for I say, Alex, if I was you, I'd go right into it. I'm not completely out of the playoff picture yet. I could go on a little winning streak here and get right back in the mix. But I would say go right for it, man. You know, like if you're sold on this year, I mean, you don't think you're going to win it. For anybody listening, I would say, why not just see even if your league, like, if they don't say anything directly about it, you can just go to people and ask them, hey, I'll give you this player, get a draft pick. But then, like, you know, you also just want to make sure it's good with the entire league, because you don't want to, like, destroy, like, you don't want to just, like, make one team super good and then, like, people are mad, people get angry, you know. You want to check and make sure it's good with everybody. But,
hey, at that point, that's where in the beginning of the season, you got to make sure that commissioner establishes the ground rules right away rather than mid-season or toward the end.
That's what I'm saying. When he sends a text in the middle of the season when you're in sixth place and you're like, oh, as a reminder,
no, that rule has been in our league.
All right, for 1 year maybe, and I might have forgotten about it.
forgot you don't pay attention to the little details. Yeah. But okay. So this question though, whenever I first asked it, I guess I asked it from the wrong point of view, as in like your team sucks and you're trying to get it better for next year. I think this is definitely more appropriate for if you are in the playoff hunt and you're risking next year all for this year, because in a lot of these leagues you could be like 6 to 10 teams deep in this playoff push, and you could just squeak in. But if you get like 2 or 3 ringers from a team that isn't in the playoffs, you could have a chance. But if you're one of the lower seeds in the playoffs as it is, you could easily just be booted first round. You just lost 2 of your top 5 draft picks for the next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, part of me thinks that there'd have to be like a cap on what round draft pick you could do. I don't know. Part of me feels like if you're going to give up like your first round draft pick next year,
that would be crazy.
I think it'd be stupid. I mean, I guess you couldn't put a cap on it, because I'm sure our tech guy Antonino Fabrera would do that to get his boy Aaron Rodgers for next year. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be tough. I mean, as a person who's in the playoffs, I know, Alex, you can't speak to this. So this is just my initial thoughts as being in the playoffs.
You're not in them yet. All right.
That's true. I'm not in it yet. It's a good point. As JB likes to say, it's a long season. There's plenty of time.
I hope seed. I hope you're the 6th seed and someone like as the 8th wins, has like 2 more points than you and knocks you out.
Yeah, man, we'll see.
That would be
the only way I do get in is with my record, so we'll see about that. But
sure.
I think that's a good topic, Alex. I'm 50-50 on it. I don't know how I feel about it. I like the what's the word? I like the tradition of fantasy football and not trading picks, because I'm not a big trader in general. So, JB, what are your final thoughts on it?
Yeah, I already said what I had to say. I don't know. I don't mind it. As long as everybody's okay with it in the league, and why not just go ahead and see what you can do next year. If you get somebody who's okay with just going all in this year, then shoot, do it.
I think one of the things I'm in one of a keeper league. I'm pretty sure that's how like one of the teams got like super stacked, was they just like blew it one year. They knew they had like one great keeper on their team, so they stacked up him, and then they got like 3 draft picks within the first 5 rounds, and they stacked up. And I did beat them last year in the championship, so no big deal. But I think that's happened. I think it depends on the league type. If it's a keeper league, I don't know how it works with dynasty leagues, but I think that's pretty common in dynasty leagues. So.
All right. Very good. All right. Last segment. We'll keep this quick. What is our fantasy game of the week for week 13? I guess I'll start, since I haven't started the last couple. I'm going to go Denver at Houston. I think that'll be. I think the Russell Wilson versus C.J. Stroud matchup is going to be pretty intriguing. Nico Collins and Tank Dell have been playing real well for Houston. Games in a dome, not going to be inclement weather. I know, weather across the country, if you haven't been able to tell, it's getting really, really cold and really, really snowy. So
thanks, Alex.
Big difference if that game was in Denver compared to Houston. So I think there's going to be a lot of points, a lot of fantasy points as well. So I think that's going to be a pretty intriguing game. Yeah, just come here for this is like the impromptu weather channel now. We'll do this. JB.
I'll go ahead and I'll say the Dolphins Commanders. All right. Sam Howell, we know we know what he can do. And 2 on the other side of the ball. I mean, I think Sam Howell is going to be playing from behind like he always does. Oh, yeah. He's going to be throwing a bunch. And the Dolphins, we already know what that offense is capable of. So I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. Pretty interesting one to watch. Jack?
I'm surprised. I'm usually one that takes like the Giants against the Jets, and that's like my game of the week. But this week I'm taking like the mainstream one that I thought Alex was going to take, because he doesn't like in-depth games. in-depth analysis like I do. But I'm taking the Niners and the Eagles. Two great offenses, two great defenses. I mean, the Bills are off this week. I'm not sure what the other team that's on a bye this week. So the Bills I was looking to play because they're trending in a pretty interesting direction. I'm not going to say a high one or a low one, but they're in an interesting direction. The Eagles are trending in the right direction. 49ers are also trending in the right direction. Brock Purdy's finally playing good. They're healthy. Debo's back. The Eagles' run game mostly is Jalen Hurts. He's got it going on. Push is always there. Jason Kelce, sexiest man alive, up there. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Yeah, I know all the players. Don't worry, guys. I'll just go through all of them real quick. I like that game. I'm hoping for a lot of high-scoring game. Probably going to take the over. For fantasy owners, that's a game to watch.
I was just looking at the lineup. This Atlanta versus the Jets game might be gross.
In what way?
It might be like 10-7.
Can it be any worse than that Vikings game?
No. That Giants-Pats game was terrible too.
That's
been worse. No, that was gross. Any last thoughts, boys?
Do we think
Alex, not a bad job hosting, I guess.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Some props this week for going off the dome is pretty good.
Hey, try. Last minute I tried to guide as much as I could. Appreciate the support from you too. It was fantastic. Jack, engaged man now. He's
big time.
Living large. You can tell there's a little glow in his eyes. Najee Harris almost has 100 yards. JB has a glow in his eyes. It's fantastic, man. We missed Dom though. We missed Chris too, our producer.
I know. Shout out to Antonino for taking the reins on the back end.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Well, we'll wrap it up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in for this Week 12 recap, Week 13 preview. You can catch us on radiopittsburgh.com, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Tuesday nights, 8 to 9. Have a great night.